Hi guys, so I wanted to create this video to show you how I study and how I get work done in my home. I know it's been difficult for a lot of us during distance learning since we're not back in school. So I do just really quickly want to go through what I do to get work done and to focus. So just a quick background, I grew up in a one-bedroom home with 5 people. So it was myself, my mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister in my house. With that being said, finding a place to really to have like my own quiet space wasn't really possible in my house. So I had to learn to kind of adapt and figure out how to study in my class, in my home, without necessarily having that specific like quiet place. Now I live on my own, and so I have my own workspace, and this is my workspace, so you guys should see this in the videos. This is a calendar that you always see in the background. And so growing up, again, in kind of a noisy place, I kind of developed some habits to help me focus even when there was a ton of noise around me. One of the first things that I kind of learned to do when I was younger was learn how to drown the noise out so that I could pay attention. And the way that I do that is by putting on headphones whenever I work. And so normally I will have headphones in my ears as I'm working, or I'll have music playing in the background. And so if you look at my desktop right now, you'll see Spotify right there. I really like Maluma and Bad Bunny, if you know who they are. I like listening to Latin music. And so basically what I do is I put headphones on and I start playing music. I play music that I already know, so I don't play any real new music. I play songs that I hear over and over and over again. That way they drown out the noise around me, but at the same time don't distract me because I already know the song, so I'm not really listening to the lyrics. And so that's what I tend to do normally. That's one of my biggest like study habits that I use. That doesn't work for a lot of people. For some people, you might get distracted with the music, but for myself, it just helps me drown out some of the noise around me. The second thing that I really like to do whenever I'm working for long periods of time or I'm studying would be sit by a window. And so the reason why I sit outside, and the reason why is because I like kind of being able to see people pass by. Normally when I'm working for long periods of time, I tend to feel really, really isolated. And so whenever I see people walking back and forth, it makes me feel like I'm connected to them in some way, shape, or form. And so I don't feel as lonely whenever I'm working. And so those are the two biggest things that I do. Again, I play music in the background. White noise might work for some of you. For some of you, music might not necessarily help, but for me, again, that was the biggest way that I was able to just drown out the noise around me in a noisy household. And then again, the second thing that I do is I tend to sit somewhere where I can see the outside world. So at least I feel a little bit more connected to everyone. And those are my study habits. Hopefully that works for some of you. But yeah, bye guys.
Hi everyone, Miss Polewski here. I know we're doing a few videos on how we study, so I'm going to go over my best practices. First of all, I'm a very disorganized human being, so the first thing that I have to do is write everything down. So I do that in 2 ways. First of all, I always use an agenda. For me, I have to write things down in order for it to make sense or be in my head. So I use my agenda and I go through weekly and write ahead when things are due. And during distance learning, I've also gotten in the habit of doing that on my Google Calendar as well. So I use that quite often, and that also has reminders on it. So while I'm on my computer, those will pop up. I also use a ton of sticky notes. And again, my best practice is writing my to-do list. So I use the agenda to set my dates of when things are due. And then each day I'll wake up and I'll use my to-do list. And as I finish things, I actually scratch them off. I do this for a few reasons, mostly to keep myself on task. But also I find when I check things off my to-do list, it does feel like I have a sense of accomplishment or pride doing that. So those are the 2 things I do to organize. When I'm actually working on my to-do list, on a specific assignment. So when I was in school, or even for you, because it's not the exact same thing, but lesson planning and grading, I have to really stay focused. So I do one task at a time, and I open up the tabs that I need for that. So for instance, if I'm grading / studying, I will have Power School up and all of the assignments, and I'll go through and I'll type and finish those first and input my grades. When I'm lesson planning, so those are like the reading and comprehension, I do listen to music. I prefer something that I'm into at the time, but it does need to be kind of mellow. That's just personal preference. And again, I try to finish one thing at a time. It's really important for me personally to stay task oriented. If I start something and don't finish it, then I get really disorganized. So again, my big to-goes are using an agenda to keep the dates when things are due. I do this in 2 ways, written and in Google Calendar. And again, those daily to-do lists that I can check off. I hope that this helps. And another thing that I do, I know it's been kind of difficult, but my living situation, I work at my kitchen table, and so it's the most comfortable, quiet space I have. And again, I try to keep my area free of clutter. But when I'm done with my to-do list and my schoolwork, I definitely shut down the tech and I put it away so that I can actually get rest. I do think it's important to have a break from the work as well. I hope that helps, and I hope you got to see a different way that each of us studies / works and gets things done. Bye for now.
Hey everyone, so talking about study habits and like what to do to help with studying. I know I've mentioned this before to my advisory students, but it is definitely something I want to share with everyone. One thing that I did in college that helped me quite a lot was actually creating a week calendar, right? So 7 days, break all of your workload into chunks, like small manageable chunks. So that's what I would do to make sure that I was on task, I was turning things in. And for studying specifically, what I would do is, let's say I was going to be tested on 5 chapters. On Monday and Tuesday, I would break 1 chapter in half. So Monday, do part of 1, Tuesday, do part of 1, etc. So you break them in half. And then on Sunday, I would do nothing. Saturday would be my review day where I would review chapters 1 through 5. So I would break it up. If I could get through more than 1 chapter, then I would do that in a day. But if it wasn't manageable, then I would get through what I could. And so I kind of just chunked it. But something that I never found useful was crunching, right? So definitely not like the day before an exam or the day before the week, stay up all night and crunch in all that information. It didn't really work out. And I managed, just by this strategy, I managed to get all A's for my entire bachelor's degree. I never got anything below an A. And I definitely it was because of this strategy. So, that's something to help. Another thing in terms of motivation that I had difficulty, if I just wasn't motivated or whatever the case be, kind of like what Miss Ortiz mentioned, like I would throw on some music and get in the zone, or do something that I don't know, just make it motivating, make it kind of fun. I would throw my favorite music on, maybe I would make some tea, something like this, and just try to get in the zone as best as I could. I did like to work around noise, around people, but I also, and even now, I like to change my environment. Definitely an upright table is great, but me, I can't do that the whole day. I have to switch it up. So sometimes I'm in my bed and I have my computer. Sometimes I'm on the floor with the boys and I have my computer. And most of the time I'm at my desk. But that's another thing that can help you. And yeah, if you ever run into any questions, definitely email me about the weekly schedule of studying. But I hope that makes sense. If you need more clarity, just send me an email. Bye.